Hey everybody, it's Jessica Kinzer. Nice to see you all again. Today I'll be talking about the benefits of spending time in nature. So I want to start off by telling you guys about an experience I had back in 2020. I'd been diagnosed with anxiety and depression for several years by that point. It was the height of COVID. Things were very uncertain and scary. I was also a single mom, taking care of my mother full time and working a full time job. And everything was just overwhelming. I had tried a lot of ways to relax. I would go to the indoor swimming pool, I would go to the gym. These are just suggestions from some friends, and none of those worked. I was desperate, so I typed into Google how to relax. I know that sounds crazy, but I did. I needed Google to tell me how to relax. One of the first things that came up was a thing called forest bathing. And basically, I read that forest bathing is a term that came about in Japan in the late 1980s. Basically, it's what it says. You go into the woods, forest, you pick a spot, and you completely immerse yourself in nature. You take in the sounds, you take in the textures, you take in the air. You ground yourself kind of in nature. As like generic as that sounded, I was skeptical, but it didn't want me to buy anything, and it required me not to even leave the farm. I was sold on it. I really was. But I put it off. I was like, all right, well, I'll try this when I can. One day was a particularly hard day for me. I'm not even sure what was going on at this point, but I remember it was stressful and I was overwhelmed. So I got my tennis shoes on. I got me a small blanket. I got some bug spray, and I headed into the nearby wooded area on our farm. I'm looking for a place, just looking around, looking for a place that looked comfortable as a forest can be. So I'm walking, I'm sobbing, I'm crying my eyes out. This day has been terrible. Finally, I see like this big flat rock, and it's got some not like mud, but it wasn't like loose dirt either. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit on this rock. I sit there, I pop my shoes off. I'm still crying at this point. And I'm like, all right, I have to breathe. So I do what my mom has told me and what every ER nurse has told me when I've been there for my panic attacks. In your nose, not your mouth, slowly. I started doing that. I started to relax my shoulders. I started to untense my jaw. I started to just kind of like that. I stopped crying. I took my shoes off, pushed my toes into the dirt. I could feel the rock on either of my hands, and I gripped it. Still breathing. I gripped it. I listened to the sounds, birds, bugs, animals. I was smelling different smells, wood, kind of an earthy smell. I could smell some manure from the cow pasture nearby. I was taking everything in. Finally, I opened my eyes. It felt like 30 minutes had passed. I'd only been doing this for about 10 minutes. I felt weirdly calm because I'm just sitting out in the woods with my toes in the dirt, which sounds weird. To me, it did. I mean, I grew up on a farm, but I was still never an outdoorsy girl. I just wasn't. So after this, I walked back up to my house. I felt so much relief. And after that, I started pretty much going out to that same spot in the woods by my house every day. And this went on for like a year. I mean, raining, cold, hot. I went out there every day. Eventually I had to find a new spot because I did move. But I will tell you that has worked just as well sometimes as going and talking to my therapist. It really has. And I would recommend it to anybody. I know it's just, hey, go out in the woods and sit for a while. It really is much more than that, though. So next time you feel that the rat race you're in is just too much, try doing that. I know it sounds a little crazy, but just try it and let me know what you think.